Are you resident in Spain before 2020 and British? Then this video, I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible for you to understand all the legal tips you should know if you're still interested to apply for the TEU or if you didn't get through all the requirements. Just follow me with every single step. So we're going to talk about TEU, which is what it's called Tarjeta de Identificación de Extranjeros, and for those who are 2020 or before and British. Basically, the whole thing of the application will be based on Article 18 of the Withdrawal Agreement. Okay, so if you are resident or if you were resident in Spain in 2020 or before, you're British and you still didn't get your residencia, let me share with you now all the legal requirements and obstacles that we found and give you a little bit of light. The first one, you might say, Ignacio, which one is the most difficult one that you went through? Padrón. The padrón, unfortunately, was not easy for a lot of you because of the COVID restrictions during that time. I've heard many stories, many reasons. It doesn't really matter which one it is. The problem is you didn't manage to get the padrón. That's not the only requirement in law for you to prove you've been living here in Spain. What I'm using in all these appeals, I will explain to you later on. Witness statements. And second thing I'm using is letters from the police, school, letters. All these things will work if you need to go through the courts to prove that you were living before the 31st of December of 2020. Always think of witnesses, institutions, even a fine if you receive a fine, withdrawals of money, or every single evidence that you could think of. Second problem we're facing with all this situation is medical insurance. Now, Extranjería office is saying that they didn't get the insurance at the time. Okay, that has been very recently, and they might get back to you saying you didn't have it. An option that I give you is to apply for convenio especial and try the TEU application back again with that application. So you will have a convenio especial application, which is, if you still didn't qualify for public health, you will pay, if you're below 65 years, 60 euros to join the social security in Spain to be able to enjoy all the services. Medicines will not be included and specific things will not neither. But it will work. The police office is accepting that easily. Okay? Third thing I would like to share with you is the money. Some of you said, Ignacio, I didn't have that much money here in Spain at the time. I didn't have the 9,000 euros for 3 months. Sometimes I ask people, do you have that money for more months, even though it was little money during January to December? Was it 9,000 euros during the whole year? Do you have money abroad as well in a pension fund where you will be able to recover that money? If so, you will have to provide it here. So we'll talk about money abroad. So don't only stick yourself to the requirements here in Spain. 9,000 euros in Spain, it could be worldwide assets, okay? Always bear with me. bring as many documents and as much paperwork to prove the reality, which is you being in Spain and living in Spain. Okay? Right. This is the number one situation. Padrón, convenio, money abroad. Okay? Then what happens? You will lodge the paperwork, the TIE, through the extranjería office. If you're in Costa Blanca, it will be Alicante. If you're abroad, you're in a different area, it will be a different capital. Doesn't matter. You lodge it through. They will get back to you, the police station, the extranjería will get back to you once you lodge it. If you have a digital certificate, you could do it yourself. If not, you could do it through your lawyer. I highly recommend you in these circumstances to appoint lawyers who are specialized on this. The reason is because things are getting very much complex and you need to be prepared, not for step number one, which is the TIE application, for stage number two, which it will be the appeal. Right, and you will say, Ignacio, what do I do now? You lodge it through with all the requirements that you will find in this article that you are reading now, and you wait until they get back to you. They will tell you yes or no. If they say no, you've got two options. And then you have the appeal before the extranjería office, or just within 1 month. And then you have what we call the administrative court. Okay, so 2 months for that one, 1 month. Depending on your specific case, I will highly recommend you to go one way or the other. Well, obviously, we can discuss it personally, what is best, because not all the situations are the same. I might recommend even try to apply again while we're doing an appeal. So we'll have to be specific at the time according to the information you provide us. Okay, but let's say if you've managed to get a yes, congratulations, you made it, that's great. You are under the withdrawal agreement and that TIE will last at least 5 years for you to live in Spain, and you'll have to renew it when that expires. If they say no, which is the problem that we're having with a lot of people that have been living here, that they don't comply with the requirements, or the requirements are a bit difficult for them to understand or subject to interpretation, then the option that I highly recommend you is go through the courts. Why? Very simple. The judge is an independent figure and will just go through the law and see and interpret whether that is correct or not. The fact of not having the padrón, it doesn't mean you haven't been resident in Spain. So that's a very square instruction from the police office, extranjería, which they just rejected, okay? But that doesn't mean that you don't have at least 2 witnesses, the police being to your house and just issue a certificate saying that you've been living there. The head teacher could even issue a letter saying that you've been there. You could provide even your tax return, medical reports, appointments with the doctor as well. So that's very important. If your doctor could issue a letter to say that you've been living in Spain. You'll need to think about every single possibility to prove that it was true, you were here before 2020. Now let's go back to the appeal side. Appeal. We've got the extranjería appeal, which I'm not very keen to do it unless it's obvious or it's just a basic mistake of providing paperwork on the first phase. But if we really think that the problem is going to be into interpreting padrón or just specific things that they're very square, I will highly recommend you to go to court. Why? Probably because you're going to save money on 2 ways. When you go through the appeal, then you have the option first to ask for a preliminary measure. Okay, so you will stay in Spain based on these circumstances as long as the judge reviews and considers reasonable for you to stay here. Okay, that's what we call medida cautelar or preliminary measure, and the judge will review in an average of time here from the lodging 2 months time the application, and will give an order to the Extranjería office for you to get a provisional TEU. Okay, that means if you get that first result, that means your case is going good. Then you have the case, so we're talking about the preliminary measure here, and then we have the claim. So we need to claim your TEU application through the courts and ask the judge to open a hearing eventually and run through the paperwork. So what do? They will run through all the paperwork that we will provide, and that's why it's very important the TEU to be very well presented. I am unfortunately seeing so many applications that they were not done correctly, and therefore if you're going to go through the courts, my recommendation will be try to do the application from new, ready to go to the second phase. So if you are doing a new application now, try to do as good as possible so the court case will be accurate and your application paperwork will be spot on. Okay, so we already have now the person who managed to get the preliminary measure, which is a success, great, and this normally takes 2 months from the appeal. Okay, and then you'll be given a date for a hearing, because this is lodged at the same time. The preliminary measure and the main claim is lodged at the same time. The preliminary measure they review very quickly. The main claim is going to take an average of a year here in Alicante at the moment. What happens? We just write down the claim, we draw up the claim, we say all the explanation, all the facts and reasons why you were resident in Spain, and we ask the judge to open a day for a hearing. What is going to happen on that hearing? We're going to need to bring the witness statements that you went in the past. I normally recommend you to do witness statement before the notary. So if you have 2 or 3 witnesses, it will be great for them to prove that these people saw you and know that you were resident in Spain. That document should have been lodged here, but here will be very useful. And we will need these witnesses to appear in court and to state, swearing on oath, that is true that you were living in Spain. The other documents that the judge is going to review will be the letters from the town hall, if they say that you were in Spain, school letters, witnesses, and basically run through whether you have protection with the convenio. That's why I said it's very important, if you think there is a problem with the private insurance, try convenio, because convenio is no doubt about it, and they will not get back to you telling you that there is something missing or not missing. I forgot to mention that you might have the S1. So if you have the S1, it's not a problem, because we will connect you into the social security system. Even though this might be out of date, but as long as we prove that you were living in Spain. Okay? Right, so as a summary for you to know and understand, if you did apply and didn't work, try to do it again with professionals, with experts in immigration, so you're accurate on the application. Not only to get it on first stage, it's just to prepare a further case. What is the problem here? This phase will take 2 months average. This one is going to take a long time. You will need to hire a barrister, a court runner, but it's very important the evidence side to be very well prepared. So I hope I gave you a little bit of light today, and if you have questions, send us an email and we'll be able to organize a video conference or a consultation to clarify where you are and how can it work. There are other options that you might have, like going back to your home country and applying for the non-lucrative visa or the golden visa, or even here stay and apply for the 𝐼𝐴, which is after 3 years living in Spain, you'll be able to apply for that. So there are many options. You don't have to do only one. You could play with applying for the TIE, doing the appeal on the other one, or going on the non-lucrative from your home country. But it's very important for you to get and have expert advice. Okay, so I hope you learn a little bit with this video, and if you have any questions, give us a ring. Thank you.